Check 1 2. Check 1 2. Always got to do a microphone check, right? Kind of see where my levels are. All right. See how this thing sound. All right. I think we sound good. I got some water. I got some good old spring water. All right. And if you can hear me and I sound good to you, this is what we're going to do. We're going to say that if you are within an earshot of my melodious voice, then that can only mean one thing. That could only mean that you are now in tune for another glorious episode of the one, the only Dignified Bastard Podcast. Go ahead now. Go ahead. Yeah. Yeah. And since you're in a clapping mood, give yourself another round of applause. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, Mike, get you some too, Mike. Yeah. One more time. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. You know what? Today is Tuesday. No, it's not. I just fucked up. Today is Monday, April the 24th. Damn, I fucked up. Hey, but everything I do is divine. All right, everything I do is divine in my mind today. Once again, we're going to try that again with the date today. It's April 24th, the last week. Last week in the month. All right, I'm going to close it out strong. I think my new schedule, I just got that intuitively. My new schedule needs to be episode in the first of the month, beginning of the month. Episode at the end of the goddamn month. All right. To be announced. But I like it so far. I've spoken with my constituents and I like it. What you say, Mike? What you think? Mike says this is a go. All right. All right, folks. Here we are. 2023 so far. So good. So far, so not so good. What you think? All right. Going to talk about a little bit of that. All right. We're going to talk about some other things. All right. I'm going to try not to hold y'all too long. All right. Then you hate when the pastor said that at church. Yeah, about a little while longer, we're going to get y'all out of here. You like, oh my God. This is, yeah. Yeah, because you know Rev on some bullshit. 1 hour later, your ass still ain't gone home yet. Rev just getting warmed up. Rev just getting warmed up. You know he ain't letting you go in a announcement. After an announcement like that, I'm not going to hold you for too much longer. Yeah, right, Rev. I done missed 2 birthdays fucking around with you. I done missed the Super Bowl fucking around with you, Rev. Stop it. All right. Anyway, man, my name is the Junkyard Jedi. And you are now in tune for another important episode of the Dignified Bastard Podcast. I'm sorry. That was the official. All right. That was the unofficial announcement. You know what I mean? I got to do that when I come in. I'm sorry. I just have to sing it. It's like a jingle almost. You understand what I'm saying? Anyway, man, I appreciate you guys for showing up. All right. Those faithful few. And you know what? It's cool having a faithful few. It really is. Right? Because I feel like the faithful few know what time it is. They know what kind of time I'm on over here at the Dignified Bastard Podcast. They know. This is episode 33. Okay? They know it's been 32 episodes of this bullshit. They know. They know that I'm tripping. Right? But they also know that I'm going to try to over the next few minutes, I'm going to make a solid attempt at making you think, inspiring you to challenge the status quo, right? Inspiring you to even go beyond your own mental limitations, all right? That's what we do here over at the Dignified Bastard Podcast. We talk about it all. Ain't nothing off the table. We talk about what's on the table, what's under the table, the legs on the table, the color of the table. What kind of table is it? Is this a picnic table? A card table? Is it times tables? What kind of table? What kind of table is it? You know what I mean? So we're not leaving anything off the table. Shout out to D Nice. Compared to me, you just crumbs on the table, okay? Shout out to yourselves, man. If you are alive, this is my motivational speech. If you are alive today, guess what? In the words, the eternal words of jazz legend Pharoah Sanders, the creator has a master plan, and you are part of that shit. Go to your nearest neighborhood pub, bar, juke joint, order you a drink on me, okay? The creator has a master plan, and you are a part of that master plan, all right? So do not deny yourself the opportunity to become a co-creator in whatever that master plan is, all right? That's what this thing is about. Very appropriate. We just kind of going to lean into that statement of the creator having a master plan. I'm big on quotes. Anybody that knows me, I'm big on quotes. All right? I'm big on quotes. Today is brought to you by the quote. Do I quote? And I quote, a smart person knows their limitations, yet a wise person ignores them. Once again, a smart person knows the limitations, and yet a wise person ignores them. All right? Yes. You want to be wise, don't you? You want to be wise, right? We all want to be wise. We like being smart. We like being thought of as intelligent people. We like being thought of as people who have a certain mental aptitude, right? Think about being in school, take all these tests, right? What was one of the names for those tests. It's called the aptitude test, right? Some of you out there listening, you may have even taken IQ tests, right? Measuring the level of intelligence that a person may or may not have, right? Just so you know, not trying to bust nobody's bubble, but all of those tests, yes, all of those tests are very, very much bullshit. All right. It's just my humble opinion, just my humble observation. You can take that to the bank, right? Take that to the bank and they may not give you anything. But anyway, truth of the matter is that we are in some ways familiar with these tests, right? To test our mental aptitude. And see, I don't know, man. I'm a bit of an extremist, I guess, when it comes to levels of intelligence and things like that, because I think everybody is a genius in their own right. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just me. I just feel like all of us are a genius when it comes to something. I mean, you might just be a genius when it comes to wiping your ass. I'm sorry. Does that not make you a genius? Right? See, when people hear the word genius, right, they automatically start making little inner, comments about the word, and possibly even maybe some names come to mind, right? Maybe some names come to mind when you say the word genius. The Genius. Remember that? Oh, Dirty Bastard album. Shout out. Oh, Dirty Bastard. Yeah, shout out to Jizza too. But when you hear the word genius, right? You begin to associate, if you will, certain people, certain men, certain women to that word, with that word, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. If you have to do that, or if you find yourself doing that, there's nothing wrong with that, right? You might think of, let's just say, somebody like Carter G. Woodson, right? Hold on. Shout out Carter G. Woodson, the ancestor. All right. You might think of, shout out. We wouldn't have no Black History Month if it wasn't for the ancestor Carter G. Woodson. All right. You hear the word genius, you might think of W.E.B. Du Bois. You know what I'm saying? That's another genius out there. Right? Always leading and pushing towards modes of higher education, right? Hey, you might think of Garrett A. Morgan, all right? That's who you might think of. Hear the word genius. They're like, man, please. How old do you think we are? Those are old, if you will, historical geniuses, right? But what about modern day, right? Think about a modern day genius. You might think of Dr. Dre, right? Shout out Dr. Dre. Chronic, goddammit. All right. Classic. You might even think of Beyonce. Okay? Might think of Beyonce. Right? All right. But my question is, who do you think of when you think of the word, or you hear the word genius? Question mark. Right? Who do you think of? Well, it is my humble That's how the preachers do, right? They don't even say humble. Humble. My humble opinion. I am so humbled by being graced by your presence. My humble opinion is when you hear or you think of the word genius, my friends out there, you need to be first and foremost thinking about your goddamn self. That's what you should be doing. I have such an enthusiastic crowd in my garage. Thank you. Nah, seriously, when you hear the word genius, you need to be thinking about yourself, right? First and foremost, there's nothing wrong with thinking about other people or other people coming to mind. A lot of people call Kanye a genius, right? A lot of people call Quincy Jones a genius. Maybe even Nikola Tesla, right? Nikola Tesla might be considered a genius, right? Imhotep, Katherine Johnson, Oprah Winfrey, it doesn't matter, right? But in my humble opinion, right? Humble for all you genius English speaking people out here. In my humble opinion, if you are not thinking of yourself as a genius, you are doing a great disservice to yourself, because like I said, all of us, right? All of us, big, small, short or tall, black or white, are geniuses in God's sight. Nah, I'm just playing. I know the song don't go like that, but I'm just saying I'm being silly about a serious situation or a serious scenario, because I want people to really plug into that, connect to it, right? I've been fortunate enough to work in a couple of different areas in my my tenure on Earth as a human this time around. You know what I'm saying? I've been able to work in a few different industries. I'm a veteran. Shout out Air Force all day long, baby. I've been able to hold down the job for a couple of years in the prison systems. Yeah, prison system. Did that for a little bit. Education. So from one industry to the next. And the one thing that I notice is we have a certain marginalized, if you will, depending on where we are, not just in the industry that we work and a lot of times compete in, but even where we are in life, right? Even where we are in life is based on how we think of ourselves. Do we think of ourselves as being, intelligent? How do you feel about, in other countries? If it doesn't bother you, it doesn't bother you, no big deal. But in other countries, they just don't see us as being very intelligent. They don't see us as being smart. Now, with that being said, I have an affinity, a genuine love, if you will, for my melanated people in America. You know what I mean? I have to talk about the demographic, the diaspora that I am from, quote unquote, Black American diaspora, and I think, therefore I know that we are not done producing some of the top scholars and geniuses, right, that this world has ever seen. I don't think we done. We not done. Do not count us out. right? Do not count us out based on, what the world perceives, okay? What the world perceives is us being, criminals, uneducated, lazy, violent, And I think this is necessary because, and the reason why I say it's necessary is because this is not even what I was going to talk about. I was going to go somewhere else completely. I had notes and shit. Right? Had notes. But, like I said, working in two systems, right, that are areas of concentration and control where they like to keep us on low levels, working in two different systems. On the one end, working in the prison system, and on the other end, working in the educational system. I get a chance, unlike a lot of people, to see, both sides of how this thing goes. And let me tell you something, man. Like, some of the best and the brightest have been written off. They've been labeled as criminals, miscreants, deviants, all kind of shit. You know what I'm saying? So we need to rethink these things, right? We need to, quote unquote, hit the ground running, right? Hit the ground running. And how do we do that? Well, I don't have all the answers, right? But what you need to know is, anything worth having, I don't give a damn what it is, anything worth having, right, you're going to have to do some work, right? You're going to do some work. Shout out to Javante Tank Davis. He TKO Ryan Garcia in the seventh round this past Saturday. Right? Because ain't nothing going on in boxing right now. Let's be honest. Right? I can't even talk about my favorite sport. Right? Because ain't a whole lot going on. But I brought that up to say this. Not only to shout out Tank and Ryan Garcia, both some gladiators, man. Took that boy out with a body shot. But I said all that to say, take a boxing match for instance, leading up to the fight, right? Leading up to the fight, going back to that work thing, talking about work. We have to understand that this thing is not just about work, right? We are confused when it comes to this language. I think as a writer, and as a podcaster, I can talk a little bit about language, right? As a spoken word artist, I can talk a little bit about language. So when it comes to work versus labor, right? We're confused about something, right? We confused about work and labor. We think that we have to work hard. And I think, right? I don't know. I feel as if this is what turns us off from pursuing high marks in academic achievements. Just my theory, right? Just my theory. Don't quote me on that, but smoke it over for a little while, all right? Talk amongst yourselves, all right? So as you were talking amongst yourselves, what did you come up with? Right? Because my conclusion, right? My conclusion is that We are smarter than we think, right? But it's going to take some labor, not work. It's going to take some labor, okay? And the reason why I say this, call me crazy. Just don't call me after 10 o'clock because I'm probably going to be asleep. But what's interesting is, we talk about language, going back to language. Let's get to language first. We was not finished with that. Language, right? We are speaking a language here in America. We speak English, right? We speak English, which is composed of Greek, Phoenician, Latin letters, and all that good stuff. You dig what I'm saying? So, with that being said, it's been said, highly opinionated, debated, and whatnot. I'm not sure how true it is, but they always say English is the hardest language to learn because we have so many words that mean the same thing. We have antonyms, we have synonyms, all that shit. You dig what I'm saying? Anagrams, all that wild stuff. But the language, shout out to Dr. Phil Valentine too. He broke this down when he was talking about light cold lockdown. And I've spoken. All right, I'm gonna get a couple of frowns for this, right? But I've spoken to let's just say entities, right? Who we might consider alien and whatnot. And they've told me firsthand, right? The language that you speak, right? This so-called English language, this language that we speak, which is not a quote-unquote native tongue because it's comprised of so many different origins and influences. This language is locking you down, locking humans down, period. Mentally, right? There should not be as much or as wide of a gap between us and other people when it comes to education. But the processes by which we practice teaching English, teaching grammar, teaching linguistics, right? We totally jamming people up when it comes to that. All right. And like I said, I think I got room to talk. All right. As a writer, as a podcaster, as someone who speaks halfway decent English. You dig what I'm saying? Like, I really do feel like, the truth is there. But it's going to take you a while to find it based on the language, right? So once again, moving towards work versus labor, okay? This life is very rewarding. It is. You don't have to, quote unquote, work hard, but work is not associated with reward. Work is associated with payment, right? The exchange of goods and services. But labor, on the other hand, labor is something totally different because labor is at a person's own personal pace, okay? A smart person knows their limitations. A wise person ignores said limitations because a wise person knows that it's going to be labor and not work. But see, work, the difference is, young Padawan, the difference is work will frustrate you, right? Work will make you say, I don't need this job. I don't. I ain't got to put up with this, right? Because work is directly associated with getting paid, either on a weekly basis, right? Daily basis, salary, whatever, hourly basis, right? Somebody say work. you automatically think of getting paid, right? Physical, what Dr. Claude Anderson refers to as sweat equity. That's what comes to mind, right? Same way when you think of genius and them other people come to mind other than yourself, you think of work. You think of gonna be doing something physical, right? Might be back-breaking labor, might not be, but damn sure gonna be something physical, right? Yet, even though I'm getting paid, I am not being what? Rewarded. I might make some coin. Might be able to go buy a 3-piece and a biscuit, something to drink, right? Whatever I prefer. Cognac, brandy, gin, wine. I'll say it again. Nah, I'm just playing. Got carried away. These sound effects, man. I'm sorry. Got carried away. Yeah, but when it comes to labor, you looking at getting paid. Most people want to get paid for work. Most people want to get paid, right? Even the word work, body work, you're always associating or connecting something physical to the word work, right? But when it comes to labor, it's a little bit different. How? You might say, how? How is labor different from work? I mean, ain't they synonyms, right? Ain't they words that got similar or the same meaning? Yeah, in a way. But see, this is how, let's see, I'm going to put y'all on to something. This is how they flip, it's how they flip the script. Those who are, quote unquote, in control of things, but that's a false reality. But we ain't gonna dig too deep into that right now. But that's how, per se, quote unquote, air quotes, because people be like, well, who was they? Is it you? Right? Since we don't know who they are, let's just say you. How you flip the script, right? It's by changing the language. I've said this before, right? Especially us as writers or spoken word artists or whatever, social influencers who are using sound vibration to reach the quote unquote masses or classes, right? How you flip the script is by changing the language, changing the dialect. Where you heard work and only thought of work, hear work and think of labor, right? Hear work and think of purpose and function. That way, work is no longer such a painstaking process, or work does not seem laborious, all right? Because the difference is, like I said, the fundamental difference is when it comes to work. Now, I got to give up something, right? That's another reason why folks stray away from quote unquote hard work. What have you been taught about hard work? Hard work pays off, but guess what? It's hard. It's hard. Right? You let somebody say something about some hard work. First thing somebody gonna say, oh, hell no. Not me, not this one. I don't want to work hard. Right? I want to work hard. Right? Some of us, and it's the crazy part, figure this one out. Smoke this one over. Some of us work hard at doing nothing. How you do that? I don't know. But they do it. I don't know how you do that. How the hell you work hard at doing nothing? Stay tuned. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know how they do it. I really don't. I got to give them a round of applause for myself. I don't know how you do it. A lot of people do it, though. They work hard at doing nothing, right? Which is damn near impossible, but they do it, right? So a smart person, once again, a smart person knows his or her limitations. Yet a wise person ignores them. That's right, Mike. But to be wise, right, you're going to have to work for that wisdom. Okay? Matter of fact, you're going to have to put in some labor, right? Because you know, or you should know, what you will know, right? And what your soul knows, right, is that life equals work. Once again, yeah, that's right. Life equals work. But the pursuit of your function, the pursuit of your soul purpose, that's the labor, baby. That's the labor, right? The pursuit of your function, the pursuit of what it is that you've been put here to do. That is your labor. Friends, family, right? Constituents of all kinds. That is the labor. What's your purpose? Right? Why you here? Why you here? What you doing? Right? Because every second, every nanosecond, every moment that you are breathing, you are easing closer and closer to your exit day. That is the reality. Right? So, what would you rather do? Work hard, retire, die? Or would you rather know what your purpose was? Right? Make that your labor, your life's work, so that your reward when you get out of here, right? Or as you prepare to get out of here, your reward is that now you can go on to the next mission, right? You left it all behind, right? You turned over all the stones, right? All the gifts and talents that you were given, you didn't squander them away, right? You believed in yourself. You knew that it was something special about you, regardless of what somebody told you, regardless of what the teachers told you, regardless of what your mother, your father, sister, brother, cousin, uncle, auntie might have told you, right? You believed in you. You believed in yourself because you knew your purpose, right? Because there's levels to everything. We've said this time and time again. You know, I don't care what book you read on self-improvement. I don't care if it's the 48 Laws of Power. I don't care if it's the secret teaching of all ages. You dig what I'm saying? There's a certain level of consciousness that goes along with being successful, right? Rule number 1, believe in you. right? You the main character in this, right? This is your hero's journey, right? The roles have already been set out for us, right? The archetypes, the characters have already been laid out, right? Think about the zodiac wheel, 12 signs of the zodiac, right? Depending on, let's just use Western astrology for conversation's sake. 12 signs, right? The sun travels through all of those houses, right? Taking on or magnifying or electrifying or energizing said energies within those particular signs, right? Talking about work and labor still, right? But the sun is moved over into the sign of Taurus as of 420. That's right. So, with that being said, the sign of Taurus, that's the bull. What's the energy of the bull? The bull, very strong will, charges, right? Charges straight ahead with a lot of power and ferocity, velocity, right? The sign of Taurus. Tauruses are confident. But why are they confident? Well, I'll tell you. They're confident because they understand the value of putting in work in. Taurus is an earth sign. Earth is grounded. It's physical, material. It's dealing with the finances as well, right? So this is a good time to talk about work and labor. We under the sign of Taurus. The sun's under the sign of Taurus right now, right? So like I said, work versus labor. I don't know about you. I don't know about anybody else. But I want this life thing to work out in my favor. So guess what? Instead of a lifelong existence that ends up being a composition of all the different jobs or the work I've done, I'd rather, me personally, of course, I'd rather pursue a life that is directly connected to my purpose. Therefore, it becomes a labor of love. If anything else, think about the language, folks. Think about that language. When a woman is ready to give birth, she is pregnant. She starts having what? Labor pains. They say we're going to induce labor. Now she gets to see the culmination, the fruits of all of her labor, the fruits, right? The manifestation of the physical thing, that soul manifesting into a physical reality based on the labor of love that the mother put in, right? She ate right, right? She walked, she exercised, she talked to the baby, right? She called it by its name, right? Or some mothers, go with tradition, say they, see the baby first, then you name the baby. Baby names itself, right? Don't name the baby right away, right? But, I use that analogy because, we all, are the product of a mother's labor, right? There was a reward at the end of that shit. You was the reward, right? You was the reward. You was the winner, right? You was the one that's what they tell us in science anyway, right? Out of all them different sperm cells, you was the winner, right? You was the one who understood the labor, right? You was the one that understood what was at stake, right? You was the one that said that you would perform the labor of having a physical existence, right? You was gonna perform that labor, right? Because see, work can be a task, right? Work can be a task. Work is associated with having a task master. I don't know about you, but I want anybody to be my task master, right? Right? The elders taught us what? Islam. I self-law and master. Self-mastery, right? So if I am self-mastering, that means that nobody can give me task, or nobody can have task or dominion over me, right? Because if I allow that to happen, I allow you to be my task master, then that means now that my working for you is going to be laborious, right? Because just by proxy alone is going to be a slave master relationship, and I can't have that. I can't have that. Can't have that. I'm too rebellious for that. God damn it. You know. And that's all anybody should want to be. They should want to be their own taskmaster. Sorry. Masker. You know, they should want to be their own taskmaster. Don't hand the reins over to anybody else. Right? Don't make this thing about work. Don't hear the word work. Right? And think of something negative, right? Meditation is not work. Meditation is labor. But you're going to have to work at meditation to benefit from the fruits of that labor. You dig what I'm saying? That's how that goes down. Once again, we're not separating the language. We're not, saying that the language is evil, but if you don't understand how to use the language and decode the language, then just like Reverend Phil Valentine said, we will remain in light code lockdown, right? This is a trade language that we speak here in America, and maybe we'll go over that more in detail. Let me get some guests on the show, man. We'll go over that in detail. But this is a trade language that we speak. This is a capitalist society, right? So the language is set up the way that it's set up. So that why? Because people can do business, right, together in a certain kind of way if they speak a certain kind of language, right? But the business that we are in is building the self, right? Fortifying by edifying. It sounds corny, right? Because people like, shoot, it's self-help books out here everywhere. It's self-help gurus and whatnot. Yeah, that's true. That is true. There's some accuracy to that statement, but everybody can't just pop up in the morning and have access to a motivational speaker. You got YouTube and all that good jazz, but guess what? Sometimes you need to say the right shit, or let me back that up. Sometimes you need to hear the right shit being spoken in your voice, right? This is why when you a lot of times get introduced to spirituality, the affirmations that you get introduced to are usually ones that have already been made up, right? They not original work, right? I self-law and master. That's the one I, became very familiar with early on. I self-law and master. arm, leg, arm, head. Allah, that's me. That's man, that's woman, that's child. Right? As above, so below. As within, so without. Right? So like I said, whatever it takes. Because at the end of the day, and I'll be closing shortly. But at the end of the day, this is about you getting to your destination. This is about you fulfilling your purpose, your plan, your work, your labor. The fruits of said labor will all be contingent upon, right, the steps that you take, right? I talked about mental aptitude in the beginning of this episode, right? We hear the word genius, we automatically start thinking about somebody else. But really and truly, each and every one of us is a genius. Those folks that I named, or any person that you can think of, hell, shit, Bob Marley. Bob Marley was a genius, right? When it came to making music. But what's the difference between Bob Marley and anybody else, right? Other than when that energy came through on the earth, it came through and it resonated as Bob Marley. You'll never be Bob Marley. You won't, right? You'll never be Kobe Bryant, right? You'll never be Jay-Z, Beyonce. You'll never be those people. You'll never be Kamala Harris, right? Because those people already exist or already existed. There won't be another one of them, right? You can only be you. You can only do you. Remember one time my little girl told me, she was like, dang, I wish I was such and such person. I don't know who she said. I don't know. One of them damn little kid stars or whatever, famous people. And I was like, well, why would you say that? Why would you want to be Ariana Grande or some shit? You know, I don't know. Why would you want to be her? Like Ariana Grande, like the way you know her, that's not even who she really is. She has to be in performance stage, or she has to be that version of herself whenever she goes out in public, simply because that's the nature of the business, right? People can't go out and see, not to get too far off track, but when Whitney and Bobby had their little reality show popping, they used to talk about how hood they was, and guess what? They were being themselves. They was cool in the skin they was in. And ain't that funny how that in and of itself is connected to work versus labor. Because if you are comfortable, if you are cool in the skin that you are in, right? When you're doing this thing the right kind of way, which is going towards your destiny, fulfilling your purpose in life, then you don't got no problem being who you are, right? You ain't got no problem being yourself. None whatsoever. That does not threaten who you are. It does not lessen the value of your purpose, no matter what that is, right? Because you can have, and this is really going to trip you out, you can have multiple purposes, and we all do, I think, right? We all have multiple purposes. At one time or another, and this is going to free somebody right here, I know it is. At one time or another, when you was on your bullshit, player, sis, You needed to be on that bullshit for that time. That was your job. To be at that level, doing that dumb shit, so that once you got past it, you got out of it, you could now, Sankofa principle, once again, look back, right? Look back and be like, man, I am so glad and entirely grateful that I'm not on that bullshit no more, right? But if you thought of life and your experience in it as said person, as Junkyard Jedi or whatever, if I saw that as work, hard work, right? Because we going to blow that theory away. You ain't got to work hard to get what you want. That is a lie. That is a falsehood. You do not have to work hard to get what you want. But you do have to work. You don't have to work hard, right? Because if you are working on being the best version of you, and you're doing so with love at the forefront of your thinking, the person you want to become, you'll end up being them through your labor. I repeat, you'll end up being that person through your labor, because your labor is now dedicated to whatever function and purpose that is. But you got to keep love at the forefront, man. That shit got to be on your neocortex, a la Keanu Reeves, right? It's a very significant part of the movie. We, all us occultists and metaphysicians always talk about what? The Matrix movie and shit, right? Like the Matrix. You gotta watch the Matrix. But there's a very significant part in that movie when he wakes up in the pod, right? Inside of the Matrix. He wakes up in the pod and he looks around. He looks around before he unplugs himself. He looks around. Let me let y'all marinate on that for a little bit. Hold on. That boy looks around. He sees all of the different human pods in like some sort of, what do you call those? Incubating pods or whatever. He looks around. He sees rows and rows of these shits. And he like, oh, hell no. And he unplugs himself. He unplugs himself. This ain't about granny. This ain't about mommy or mama or daddy or brother, sister, son, daughter, niece, nephew, next door neighbor. I'm not telling nobody out there to be cold-hearted or to only think of self, because you cannot be selfless in this. I'm sorry, I take that back. You cannot be selfless or selfish. You cannot be selfish. Excuse me. Like whole lockdown. Can't be selfish in this experience where you're not considering how you affect other people and how you deal with other people, because this whole thing is energy, frequency, and vibration. So we're influencing each other whether we want to or not, right? But the cold part about it is, if you only look to serve self and not serve others, right? Yeah, you acquire all those things. But the one thing that you won't really truly acquire is love. And you can't do this thing without love. Right? And I ain't no hippie. Right? There's levels to everything. But if you're going to make it about you, if you're going to make this thing about becoming the best version of yourself, if you're going to make it more labor, less work, right? Then you got to love self, right? Like I said, Neo looked around, took in what he saw, and he ascertained, yeah, I better get myself out of here first. He had to have some type of love for himself, right? He had to have some type of love for himself, right? To even take the red pill, right? And that love was spun from a curiosity like, hey, man, there got to be more to it than this. There got to be more to it than this. There got to be more to it than just work, right? I got to understand why these words sound similar or have similar meanings, but they not the real same thing. The real same thing. Bruh. They're not the same thing. Labor and work. Right? Why when I automatically, or when I hear work, I just get automatically turned off or nervous or whatever. Start thinking about when I'm going to get off or when's payday, right? It's a mental thing. All is mental, right? Universal principle. All is mental. It's all about how you perceive things, right? What's your actuality, not reality, because a lot of times what we don't realize, reality been laid out for us. What's the reality? How's it been laid out for us, Junkyard? Will allow me to retort. Going back to what I said, work versus labor. The reality is, if you work for somebody, you're going to get paid. But there's a good chance they might talk to you funny. They might treat you bad. They might not pay you what you think you're worth. But if you are the one dictating the pace of your labor with love of self, first and foremost, guess what? You get to say what the benefits are. You get to dictate how much or how little you're going to do, because you already see yourself reaping the fruits of your labor. You ain't got to call Miss Cleo. You ain't got to call me. You ain't got to call nobody. You ain't got to call on the Lord. You ain't got to call nobody. Once you start seeking out what your purpose is, right? What your purpose is, what your soul mission is. Why are you here? Very pertinent scene in the movie Forrest Gump. This motherfucker was in basic training. Right? Drill sergeant screamed from across the room. You ain't even see him on the screen, did you? Gump! What's your sole purpose in this army? Without hesitation. In only a way that Forrest Gump could do it, he replied, what? Whatever it is you tell me to, drill sergeant. Like he knew. That wasn't his purpose in life. His sole purpose in life. But his sole purpose while he was there What? Do whatever it is you tell me to, drill. So, you know what I'm saying? So, in closing, in closing, let me wrap it up, put a bow on it like this, folks. In closing, the choice is always yours. The choice is always mine. How you want to play this game, right? How you want to play this game? Who you want to be? Where you want to go? What you want to see? Right? Now, I'm not selling anybody a dream. As far as you know, I could be high as shit on LSD right now. You know, it don't even matter. Right? It don't even matter. But my idea of a good damn time is not working for someone else just to possibly be fired on a whim, right? Let go, right? Screwed over for a promotion. That's what work is, right? On that level, when it comes to 9 to 5 and it, paying bills and all that good stuff, benefits. Do they have vision? That's all I need to know. They got vision? All right, cool. But labor, on the other hand, labor. Man, shout out to the divine feminine, man. Shout out to the divine feminines out there. Especially to those who are mothers, who are mamas. All right? Shout out to the mamas out there. Mother's Day coming up real soon. But a shout out to the mothers, man, the universal mother. Shout out. Because to go through those months, those trimesters, right? That ain't easy. I've seen it done. Man, it's a reason why they do it and we don't. It's a few different reasons, right? It's because they can withstand the labor. They're built for it, right? But, okay, we are what? Reflections of each other. We're not separate and apart from each other. So guess what? If they built for it, goddamn it, you built for it too. That's your sole purpose. You got to be built for your sole purpose. But you are built for it because why? It's yours. Your sole purpose is mine. I can't come to your house one day, knock on your door like, hey, you think you can do my sole purpose for me? You know what I mean? Like it don't work like that. It don't work like that. You built for your sole purpose. Look at your neighbor. Say, neighbor, you are built for your sole purpose. So stop being so hard on yourself. All right? Let's close it with this. Stop being so hard on yourself. Stop feeling like you have to work so hard. Right? You're going to have to do some work. Right? But the rate of that work is going to be contingent upon, like I said, how you see yourself. And if you can recognize the difference between work and labor. This human experience, it's labor. It really is. It's labor. But once again, the roles have already been set out for you. How are you going to play them? It would seem to me that the best actors are the ones that assume the roles that they are born to play, right? Denzel played Malcolm X. He ain't look nothing like Malcolm X, but it seemed like he was born to play Malcolm X. What are you born to do? Right? What are you born to do? You wasn't put here to just make a mess of this thing. Right? What were you born to do? What's your sole purpose in this army, Gump? You know? Work versus labor. Right? When Dave Chappelle on stage, trust me, that ain't work. He reaping the fruits at this point. This man don't write no jokes. Y'all think he got a routine in his back pocket that he... But it's easy to get into that flow. It's easy to get out of the confines of space and time because he knows his purpose. It is a labor of love for me to get on this mic and do what I do and rock the mic right. So, with that being said, you have now been blessed with another great episode of the one and only Dignified Bastard Podcast. Man, I'm going to get on out of here, man. It's like an hour and 11 minutes in the books. All right. Now, I didn't have to do it on an empty stomach. Had me a little early dinner. Got this thing in. Wrapped it up. Closed it up. Hey, y'all be safe out there, man. Until next time, listen to the Dignified Bastard Podcast on all platforms, on your streaming podcasting platforms, Apple Music, Castbox, Spotify, all that good jazz. YouTube. Look me up. Hook me up. Subscribe, share, and come back if you dare. Anyway, man, this is the Junkyard Jedi. I am signing out. Peace.